Welcome to Daily Current Affairs by Ekam IAS. Today is 28th of January 2019. The topics we are going to deal is Pariksha Pe Charcha 2.0, Sickle Cell Anemia, SFIO, Eco-Sensitive Zones, the National Chilika Bird Festival and Mangalajodi Ecotourism Trust, the map-aided program and the previous year question revision series. Coming to the first topic, that is a Pariksha Pe Charcha 2.0. This is in news because Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he held Pariksha Pe Charcha 2.0 to help students with exam related stress. So it is a unique platform for students, parents, teachers, and they can interact with the Prime Minister directly to discuss the issues relating to exams, the stress they are going through, everything which is related to exams can be discussed with Prime Minister. And the students from grade 9 and above till graduations can take part in an online competition which is open to everyone in the country. And also the parents and teachers of the students can also take part in the competition. Only the best answers would be featured in Prime Minister's interactive session. And also all the people around the country as well as from abroad can connect to this competition via video conferencing also. And earlier in his first interaction with students, I think in February, the Prime Minister has released a book called as Exam Warriors. It is a guide to help students battle the exams anxiety. So that was the first step, then this comes the second. Okay, coming to the next topic, that is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is in news because researchers are testing strategies for correcting the problem of sickle cell disease and at genetic level. And now that the gene therapy is so advanced, they are hopeful that there can be a cure for sickle cell anemia. And it is actually, the sickle cell anemia is an inherited condition that mainly affects people of African descent. So if it happens, if this research happens, it would be the first genetic cure of a common genetic disease. Okay, and the sickle cell anemia, the disease is a group of disorder that affect the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a molecule in the red blood cells that delivers oxygen to cells throughout the body. So it affects hemoglobin. Okay, see the picture. The hemoglobin is round in shape and the sickle cell anemic cell, please have a check. The shape of the red blood cell, it has changed and it can also block the blood flow. Okay, and it is typically inherited from a person's parent and parents, and the disease usually, as I told you, it affects the hemoglobin. What happens is that it usually affects children, but it can stay for a very short period, but in teenagers the pain is very severe. Okay, and major symptoms, as you can see, is one is the red blood cells, it lowers in numbers. That's an anemic situation happens. Then you will get repeatedly you will get infections. There will be periodic episodes of pain, chronic pain. And the treatment, talking about the treatment, as of now, at the moment, the only remedy for sickle cell disease is bone marrow transplant, which is very dangerous and very expensive as well. It is a rarely used option. Okay. The next topic is SFIO, which stands for Serious Fraud Investigation Office. So it is a corporate fraud investigation agency. It has experts from all stakeholders, that is the accountancy department, the forensic auditing, the law department, information technology, investigation, company law, capital market, taxation department. It has experts from every field. They recommend the prosecution for all this white-collar crime happening in the corporate sector. It comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and they also work in coordination with the Income Tax Department as well as the Central Bureau of Investigation, that's a CBI. So it came after the recommendation of Naresh Chandra Committee on Corporate Governance. Do not forget this. Naresh Chandra Committee on Corporate Governance, and it was during Vajpayee's government period, and that time it was implemented. And it has a major offices in New Delhi. It has also regional offices in Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. Okay. The next topic is economic sensitive zone or eco-sensitive zone. This thing is in news because the forest department has issued permission to expand whatever the mini hydel project that was happening in the Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary. They issued a permission to expand this private mini hydel project in the Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary. But this thing was rejected twice by State Board for Wildlife. Okay, so that is why it's the debate is happening frequently and it is in news. And talking about economic sensitive zone, it is the area that are ecologically as well as economically important. It is very vulnerable to even mild disturbance. It is vulnerable even to the mild disturbance, and it needed to be taken care of or managed with utmost care. Those regions are called as economic sensitive zones, and it comes under the Environment Ministry. And also it is the economic sensitive zones can be seen around the protected areas, that is the national park, the wildlife sanctuary. It acts like a shock absorber. So whatever attacks or threats are happening, first it comes to this surrounding region, that's the economic sensitive area. Then it goes to sorry, it's not economic, it is eco-sensitive area. Then it attacks the national park or whatever protected area it has. Okay, so it acts like a shock absorber, and it is very it has a rich, valuable and unique biologically and ecologically important area. It cannot be replaced with anything. If destroyed, it is destroyed. So it needs to be protected. Okay, and it is very vulnerable, as I said, it is very vulnerable to erosion, degradation by the anthropogenic, that's a human-made factor, as well as the naturally occurring factor. So this eco-sensitive zone is mentioned in Section 3 of Environment Protection Act of 1986, and it gives the central government to restrict the area of development to protect the environment. So the power lies with the central government. The central government can restrict whatever happening in the region around a protected area. Okay, and there are three major criteria for demarcating a region as eco-sensitive region. One is the physico-climatic features, that's a geoclimatic, whatever the climatic features are there. Then the biological feature, and obviously the social relevance. These are the three things. How it is important culturally, economically, historically, that is also taken into account. Okay. And the next topic is National Chilika Bird Festival and Mangalajodi Ecotourism Trust. So this thing is in news because the 2-day National Chilika Bird Festival was inaugurated at Mangalajodi. Mangalajodi is in the banks of Chilika Lake in Odisha, and the National Chilika Bird Festival award was awarded to Mangalajodi Ecotourism Group because they actively involved in the protection of birds there. Okay, so coming to the National Chilika Bird Festival, it witnessed around 10 lakhs of migratory birds from 200 different species at Mangalajodi during this winters in Odisha. So it's a huge thing to happen. And this Mangalajodi, it is situated on the northeastern part of Chilika. Chilika, as you know, it's the largest brackish water lake of Asia. Also, it is the bird paradise. It's called as a bird paradise of Asia. And the Chilika Lake, why it attracts so many migratory birds? Because 10 lakh migratory birds is a huge number. So why it attracts so much of migratory birds? Because one thing is, it is on the Central Asian flyway. That is, the birds migrating from the Arctic region to the and from the subarctic region towards the eastern coast. This thing is on the midway in the flyway of the migratory birds. Then second thing is, they have a variety of habitats like mud flat, then submerged vegetation, floating vegetation, then you have open waters, then saline water. You have all kind of habitats here. So it is very convenient for different species to migrate to this region. Also, Mangalajodi freshwater wetland and Nalabana Island, they both are there in Chilika Lake, and it is identified as a important bird area. Important bird area is an initiative of BirdLife International. Okay, coming to Nalabana Bird Sanctuary, it is actually declared under Wildlife Protection Act in the core area of the Chilika Lake. It is the largest breeding ground of flamingos in the world. That is a speciality of the sanctuary. It's the largest breeding ground of flamingo in the world. Okay, and the funny factor or the interesting factor here is that the island disappears during the monsoon season because water take over it. The water level will rise and this island will disappear, and after monsoon it will again reappear. Okay. Only during this festival in Chilika Lake, this Nalabana is open to nature lovers. No other time Nalabana is open, only during the festival. Okay. See, I have a picture. Nice, no? Coming to the next topic, that is a map aided program. I have Venezuela. Venezuela is in news because there has been a political turmoil happening, because there is an opposition leader, there's the US backed leaders, and they are fighting for the fresh elections, and the Venezuelan president rejected it. It's all political news, no need. We have to know about the location and the importance of Venezuela. See, I have a pic. You have Colombia, Guyana, Brazil. To the top, you have Caribbean islands. Okay, this is and see, the top portion is water body. The other three portion you have the land mass, and I'll tell you why is it important. It is on the northern coast of South America, and it has a continental landmass. The three sides are covered by landmass, and you have the upper portion, that's the sea portion. You have small islands and islets on the Caribbean Sea that is also attached to Venezuela. And the mainland, it has the north region, as I told you, it is surrounded by Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. To the west, it has Colombia. To the south, it has Brazil. To the east, it has Guyana. And to the northeast, you have a small island, Trinidad and Tobago. See? Trinidad and Tobago, that's a small island. It is actually a large island, but see, it is to the northeast. Okay, and talking about the physiography, you have Andes mountains to the west. Okay, you have Amazon rainforest basin, then you have Llano plains, and also the Orinoco River. Orinoco River is flowing through Venezuela, and it has deltas in Caribbean Sea. Okay, so I would like you to comment in the comment section the Venezuela and its petroleum reserves. About Venezuela and petroleum reserves, just Google it and make a little note of it, and please comment it on the comment section. Be more interactive, guys. Okay, the last topic here is the previous year question revision series, and I have the question: due to some reasons, if there is a huge fall in the population of butterflies, what would be likely the consequences or the consequences? And the first statement is pollination of some plants could be adversely affected. There could be a drastic increase in the fungal infections of some cultivated plants. Then it could lead to a fall in the population of some species of wasps, spiders and birds. Here, the first statement, pollination of some plants would be adversely affected, true, because butterfly is a pollinating agent. So, the first statement is correct. There could be a drastic increase in the fungal infections, and butterfly has nothing to do with fungal infections. That's an absurd statement. Okay. It could lead to the fall in the population of species of wasps, spiders and birds. Yes, because it eats wasps and spiders, and also these birds feed on butterflies. So, if the butterfly population is declined, there can be ecological imbalance. So, that is a true statement. The answer is C, 1 and 3 only. Okay. This is a very simple question. I think everyone can attempt this kind of questions. So, as I told you, do not forget to comment about Venezuela and its petroleum reserves. Also, please, if you have any doubts, feel free to comment it on the comment section. I'll reply to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much, guys. Good night.